I don't know if you saw the horrible news from a few days ago where a man was found with his head missing in the middle of the street in Edinburgh. Now, it's been hard to get any exact reports onto what actually happened here. Some people on social media are reporting that a head was found quite a far distance away from the body. Now, almost immediately, the police and the media urged restraint. They said, please don't speculate on anything and please allow us to conduct our investigations. Shortly after, authorities stated that a 74-year-old man had been hit by a bus so hard that it had decapitated him. There were some pretty disturbing images circulating on social media, including some Halloween drinkers assuming it was a prank and actually picking up the head. Now, I can't show you any of those clips for obvious reasons, and I dare say many of you wouldn't want to see them anyway, but what's interesting about all of this is how the public, or at least some people, don't buy the official explanation. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not claiming there was any foul play here, I'm not stating any group is responsible for this or anything of that nature. My point in this video is to state this is the world that we're turning into. We're entering a world where nobody believes what the media tells them anymore, even when it could be a perfectly credible story. I've no reason to doubt the official media account. So while the media and the powers that be are very eager to stop people speculating, they are suffering from the world that they themselves have created. Nobody really trusts the media anymore, they don't trust the government anymore, they don't feel safe on their own streets anymore. This new world we're entering is extremely dangerous for so many reasons. Of course, the media and politicians have always lied, but I think we're at a critical mass at this point in our civilization. I dare say many of you would be sympathetic to the notion that our authorities and institutions would be more than happy to lie if it suits the modern agenda. Now, if a nation can't trust its institutions, it starts to rot from the inside out. Chaos starts to erupt on the streets. This is something I can see developing more and more. Whether an event actually happens or not is irrelevant. What becomes important is the response to it. It seems to me that we can't go back in time. People don't trust the institutions anymore. They turn on the BBC and hear that we've never had mass immigration, that Britain has always been an island of immigrants, and so on and so on. This leads to a situation where people say, if you're going to lie about me, about the very fundamentals of who I am and the history of my country, why should I trust you about anything else? This is all because we're discovering a harsh truth which is at the root of the human experience. That is, our worldview is centered around a meta-narrative. That's what unites a people. It's actually what the day-to-day facts are based upon. Because the Western world, Europe, the UK, once shared a meta-narrative, i.e. the post-Christian ideal, we could all make sense of the modern world and draw along the same factual lines to explain ourselves and the world to each other. Yet state multiculturalism and mass immigration, which are essentially just symptoms of liberalism, have totally undercut that meta-narrative. They've enforced a new narrative which says don't trust yourself and embrace cultural relativism. What this means is everything following on from that ideology then sends out a confused and often contradictory message to the populace. Of course, people then start disagreeing and distrusting institutions. Yet it's bigger than simple left and right. This same echo chamber effect is happening along racial lines, ethnic lines, religious lines, and so on. And this is the future world we have waiting for us. Well, I think this is where we're going to see the psychic balkanization occur before the geographical one. In my view, we're going to have to change how we read the world and read the news. We're going to need people who can remain calm despite the noise, as well as people who can contextualize news in a given arena, whilst on top of that, understanding the competing meta-narratives that are working across the modern UK and Europe. In my mind, it will be the groups that can do this that will grow and flourish. The others will be too easily controlled by their own anger, as well as by the powers that be that just seek to manipulate them with the news cycle. Everything I'm talking to here speaks to the private forum I'm building on the side right now. I'll let you know more about that when I can. But suffice to say, it should be a place where we can try and figure out the world and predict what's coming to try and ensure a healthy future for us and our loved ones. In the meantime, we're going to have to deal with an increasingly complex world where people don't know who to trust anymore, and the media offers simplistic narratives that don't really seem to match the reality we're seeing with our own eyes. These are just my views, however. Do let me know what you think down below, and do consider subscribing to the channel.